Hi everyone. I am so sorry about that. Jeez. Hi Adriana. Oh my goodness, this is so nerve-wracking. Can you hear me, Adriana? Okay, good. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Sorry. You know what? I think I'm gonna skip logging into my iPad and just start because we are already over time. This is the worst nightmare. My account got blocked by Facebook because they figured that my account was hacked, and this is scary. Thank you very much for your patience, everyone. Thanks a lot. All right, so I'm gonna go right into the. Let me just check everything is good. So, all right, so I'm gonna go right into screen sharing and try to catch up on the time because I have a lot to share and I'll get started right away. So if you can just give me a moment. Thanks, Ria, for confirming. Thank you very much. Just give me a moment. I am going to be back with my screen share. So, um, I hope you can see my screen. And Ria, if you wouldn't mind just sending me a quick message on WhatsApp to let me know that you can see my screen because I can't log into my iPad again. It's now wanting me to update the software. When it rains, it pours. So I'm going to just wait for a second while I wait to hear back from Ria. Really sorry, ladies. My apologies. And let's hope this works this time around. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Ria, for confirming that. So I'm going to now get into the meat of the presentation. All right, so create an amazing customer experience. The three secrets you absolutely need to know. All right, so first of all, of course, I'm not even sure how familiar you are with the whole customer experience realm, but so I'm going to try and break it down, make it really simple for you as much as possible. But before I get started, I should probably, give you a little heads up that one is that you do have the worksheet in the unit section that you can use. I don't know if you've downloaded it already. If you haven't, please go ahead and do that. It's an editable PDF. You could take notes, or I would love to be able to interact with you on the chat. So, maybe you can kind of keep interacting with me there. And then you can fill out the worksheet later on because there are some questions and some prompts that will help you understand your own customer experience. Okay, so what I will share are the tips and tricks that I have used in my businesses a number of times, not just once. So they definitely work, and that's the reason I would love to talk about them with you so you get an idea of what's working. And I'll skip introducing myself because I think number one is that we are late. Second is that I think you can always look me up online, and I'm right here in the group. So, you can reach out to me anytime and ask me any question. So I will skip that part. So I'll start with this. I understand that your target audience may be male, it could be female, or a mix of both. But according to the poll I posted in the group a few days ago, I think some of you answered. I noted that most of you have a primarily female audience followed by a mixed audience. That was the majority. Okay, now, of course, not everyone answered the poll, so the results are a little bit skewed. But I think there was only Charisse who had just a completely male audience. But if you haven't answered, but your audience is primarily male, please stay with me here, okay? Because what I'm going to share with you are like basic marketing principles and customer experience principles. So you should be able to benefit from from everything that I share today. And I'm going to make this presentation, however, as if it were only catering to women. And I'll show you in just a second why. Okay, why am I making this? Why did I make this presentation with a female bias? Okay, and when you see the demographics, you'll be like really stunned. And you are here because your customer is most likely a human being and not an alien. And if your customer is an alien, then I'll be sure to invite you to be a speaker at the next summit, because there'll be a lot to learn from you. So, okay, so jokes aside, all I want to say is that these principles and strategies will apply to any demographic, okay? So, okay, but obviously I wanted to stress that, this was all about the women buying demographic, because as you'll see from the stats in a sec, we are the biggest buying demographic, okay? And since a lot of you in this group are serving a female or a mixed audience, I thought it would just make sense for me to, do it this way. And the other thing I would like to tell you is that if you want to know where the market is going, follow the women, okay? They provide great leading indicators of people really want. What they really want, the women know. So let's dive in and see how we can create an amazing customer experience. And the best part is that you'll be able to leverage your existing client database to keep generating more revenue for your business. Okay, you don't have to keep chasing new clients. You can use what you have, the number of clients that you have, and make their experience better. So are you excited to learn my 3 secrets to creating an amazing customer experience? If you are, please put a yes in the chat, okay? Yeah, so just put a yes in the chat and let's move on. I'm going to catch up with you. So what are those 3 secrets? I'm going to share them with you in a bit, but I'd like to ask you a question first. Do you have any favorite stores or brands that you buy from over and over again? I'm going to give you a second to think about that. You could interact with me on the chat here, let me know. Or you can, if you want, you can write in your worksheet as well. So I'm going to give you a second to think. And maybe I'll try to log back into my iPad in the meantime. Do you have any favorite stores or brands that you buy from over and over again? This should be an easy answer. So, okay, I couldn't log back into my iPad. Okay, never mind. So if you do have something, if you haven't dropped it to me in the comments, that's fine. Please carry on. Next thing I'd like you to think about is at least a couple of reasons why you buy from them. Why do you buy from them? If you have favorite stores and brands, why do you buy from them? You can write it down or you can put it in the chat. All right, so the next thing I'd like you to think about is whatever reason you buy from them, is it just because of the product or is it also because of the service that you really buy from them? Is it a mix of both product and service? Or is it just the service, or is it just the product? Or maybe it's a store that you love going to, and I'm not referring to your local grocery store here. If you're compelled to go to this one grocery store since it's like convenient for you, but if it is a grocery store, okay, that's okay too. Maybe because you feel good when you go there, right? So think about that. So could you please drop me a yes in the chat if you could think of at least one reason why you love those stores or brands? If you can think of one, great. If you can't think of any, please say no in the chat. That's fine too. Okay, so moving on. If you were able to think of something, remember that thanks, Ria. Okay, so I'm able to log back in now. Okay, so I do see some comments. Awesome. Okay, Kirsty says, because they create clothes that fit me well and match my personality. Great. Adriana says experience. Good pricing, Ria says. Reliability. Yep. More product. However, PT, and he's all about service. Okay. Okay, that's great, because you know what? If you found reasons, that means each of these brands are utilizing at least one or more of these three secrets that I'm going to share with you now. So the first one is leveraging the customer's emotions. Okay. The second one is achieving customer retention, like higher customer retention. And the third one is creating customer loyalty. Now, can you identify something your favorite brands or stores might be doing from this list that I just shared with you? One of these categories? Can you identify? Sorry, I'm just going to set this back up. Okay. Okay, so if you're in a business, I don't see the answers yet, but I'll keep going. So if you're in a business for even as little as a year and you only have a couple of clients, ask yourself this question. Whether you sell a product or a service, it really doesn't matter. But ask yourself this. Are you doing something for your clients that you think falls under one or more of these categories? Okay. Ria says leveraging loyalty. Okay. That's good. So they are doing that. Okay. So are you doing, even if you have a couple of clients, even if you have one client, it doesn't matter. Are you using any of these three? You could write them down again in your worksheet later on, but maybe you could share with me on chat right now. So if you aren't intentionally using any of these strategies, why are you not doing that? Kirsty says emotions. Awesome. Yep, absolutely. Okay. Okay, Adriana says she doesn't do anything. That's fine. So if you're not doing it, then why not? If you're not using at least one of these, why not? You may want to start thinking about how you can start. And if you're already employing one or more of these, think about how can you improve. Okay, if you're totally new and are just starting off, it's actually a fantastic place to be in, because you can start off on the right foot by building your business, keeping these strategies in mind, right? This is going to be, Angela says, achieving customer retention. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. Start thinking about what you can do, how you can incorporate these strategies into, into your business. Yeah, okay. Ria, we'll talk about that for sure. So now I'm going to share with you a few things that I've been doing in my business that have definitely drawn appreciation from some of my best clients. And I've generated a lot of revenue from those exercises, and it's quite evident that it works, like I shared with you, because if I've earned revenue from it, obviously, it's working. And Adriana, you don't have to push clients. Okay. So this is to leverage their emotions. It has nothing to do with, you trying to sell them something. So we can definitely talk about that. But thank you very much for bringing that up. I love that you said it. So now you're probably asking yourself, what's it going to cost me, right? To do this, to be able to leverage one or more of these, what's it going to cost you? The good news is that whatever I'm going to share with you, you can do some of that at zero cost. Okay. But the bad news is that if you want people to really talk about you and you need the word of mouth recommendation, maybe because you're a local business, you will need to spend some money. Okay. Not a lot at all, but at least something. You can get very creative with marketing, believe me. And there's a good side to this as well. You can write, if you're spending money, you can actually write it off as business expenses. Of course, you are from all over the world, so I'm not very, well versed in the different, tax laws of the different countries. But I think for every country, there must be some way you can leverage that. And I have some really simple ways of pricing these things, like these add-ons and the value adds and stuff like that. So if anyone's interested in hearing about pricing, then please comment with pricing below, and then maybe we can have a chat later on. So let's get into what these customer experience strategies are all about. And you might keep hearing me say CX. So CX basically is an acronym for customer experience. Obviously C for customer and X for the X in the experience. Okay, so I'm lazy, right? So I'm going to keep referring to it as CX probably. Okay, so moving right along. Actually, there's one more thing I want to talk about before we get into the strategy, and these are the stats. And if you watched my opening segment, you would have known that I mentioned about women's empowerment, and I did say that you would be really taken aback by the stats that I'll be sharing in this segment. So here are some stats, okay? Women make 80% healthcare buying and usage decisions. Take that in for a second, 80%. Okay, I will admit that most of these stats are US based, but, and this is for 2019, by the way. So a lot of it is very, very fresh. So that's a huge number of female decision makers over there for healthcare. The next one is $18 trillion global spending in consumer industries. Okay. And out of that, 70 to 80% of that is controlled by women. Wait, what? That's a whopping $12.6 billion, trillion dollars, sorry, not billion, it's trillion. And that is 70%. So if it's 80%, it's even higher. Just imagine how much we are controlling it, okay? The next one is 94% millennial women shoppers spend over an hour per day shopping online. Mind-boggling, right? Actually, is anyone here serving this demographic, millennial women? If you are, could you please put this in the chat as well? Next one is 40% of businesses in the United States are women-owned. Imagine that, okay, 40%. The top home buyers after married couples are single women at 18%, which is double the percentage for single men. Imagine, right? 70% of travel consumers are women. We are buying vacation products, holiday travel, etc. 70% are women. 85% of women say that if they like a brand, they will remain loyal to it. So remember, one of the strategies was loyalty, customer loyalty. So yes, your branding needs to be really strong. Okay, and I am all about branding. Your business should start with branding. Okay, and I am really, really passionate about this because the clients that I've worked with who actually focused on branding made their businesses work. It's so important. And it's not, branding is not just about the aesthetics, if you're just wondering. And look at this number. Women-owned businesses added 500,000 jobs between 1997 and 2007. Right? In 10 years, we've created women-owned businesses have created 500,000 jobs. And the last one is women started 1,821 net new businesses every day last year. Every day last year, 1,821 net new businesses. And what is net new businesses? It's basically, a lot of startups. I would say 95% of startups will actually close shop within the first 5 years. Okay. So what they're talking about is the net businesses that that stayed in business. All right. I mean, these are mind-boggling stats, right? This is why there are a whole lot of stats. Obviously, it'll take me like half a day to go through all of that. But I wanted to share this with you to tell you why we are empowered in a lot of different ways. And, why you should also, if you are especially serving women, why you should be focusing on these stats and, making business sense out of that. All right. So, the first secret, we're going to talk about is leveraging customers' emotions. And the first emotions kick in basically when somebody becomes aware of your brand. So this is called brand awareness. It is the very first moment someone comes in contact with your brand, and it could be through an ad. It could be maybe they saw a friend follow you. You know how social proof works on social platforms, right? So maybe through that, maybe they were searching for something online, and nowadays search is not restricted to Google. They could have been searching for something on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, anywhere, on Twitter, anywhere, right? And they first see something from your company, and that is what is brand awareness. There are so many different ways, right? And of course, when you imagine yourself seeing a picture for the first time, okay, there are obviously emotions that are triggered right away. And maybe because either they're intrigued by the brand, maybe you come across something and you love what you see, or you're kind of just indifferent to what you just saw, or you're repelled, right? So those are emotions. We are not aware. Again, we are not intentionally thinking about those, but those are emotions that we feel. And either if we had a positive emotion, we kind of dig deeper, right? We go and look for what the company is doing, etc. If it's neutral, you may just pass it on, okay? Pass it by and go to some other similar thing that you were looking for. And of course, if you're repelled, not only do you just leave, you don't come back to that, right? So the next part is customer journey, and this starts with brand awareness and goes all the way through to the end until they've made a purchase. So a prospect becomes a client. They may have left you feedback and then maybe even come back into the cycle if they buy from you again. And even though in this diagram, it kind of seems like customer journey starts after brand awareness, they basically both go hand in hand, okay? The journey starts immediately after a prospect becomes aware of your brand. So it's simultaneous. A customer's journey includes each and every step, like I said, through your business. Whether they interact with you over email, whether they just go to your website, whether they get on the phone with you, even through chatbots, right? There are lots of websites that have chatbots. Whatever way they interact with you. And if you're a brick and mortar business, then maybe they walked into your store. Okay, maybe they have seen flyers somewhere. And obviously, if you sell tangible products, then whatever the customers or prospects are touching, okay, that includes the packaging and, like I said, flyers, the inserts in your packages, everything, okay? But the most important thing in the customer's journey includes the entire spectrum of emotions they feel when they're, whether they're doing business with you or they've just become aware. So a customer journey can actually make or break your business. If it's a very complex process, and if you haven't been able to nail it, it's very difficult. Okay, and I do a lot of these workshops at my day job, and I am surprised by how many big corporates, when they're actually tasked to create their own customer journey, they have no idea about what their customer could possibly be feeling, which is an eye-opener for me, because I would have thought that these huge marketing beasts would know what they're doing, right? So it's really crazy. And the next one is onboarding. Onboarding, in other words, is basically your post-sales experience. So somebody has bought from you. How do you welcome them into your business? So imagine this. When you have a guest come over to your place, when they're visiting, you welcome them in, right? Are you doing the same for the clients who are entering your business? Are you making them feel welcome? Okay. And especially if they're first-time clients, because they're still trying to get to know you, and you should definitely be trying to get to know them, right? So I see most new businesses and even some very, very seasoned entrepreneurs fail miserably at this. Okay. They're always selling, but the moment the sale is made, they just don't care. Like, they're on to the next sale. It's terrible. Okay, because buying is a very emotional process. And actually, I'm going to share with you a bit of research here. So in the past, research had showed that 90% of any purchase was based on emotion, and 10% was based on logic, trying to justify that purchase. But more recently, studies actually done by a Brazilian neuroscientist, his name is Antonio Damasio, he has spun that past research on its head completely. So Damasio's specialization is studying people with injury to the forebrain, which is the front of your brain, which is responsible for decision making. All right. Now, what Damasio found is this, and I'm going to quote an article over here. So what he says is, physical damage to their brains resulted in a significant reduction in their ability to experience emotion, which profoundly diminished their capacity to reason and make decisions. Okay, I'm going to repeat this again because it was a long sentence, so please pay close attention. Physical damage to their brains resulted in a significant reduction in their ability to experience emotion, which profoundly diminished their capacity to reason and make decisions. So, what does this mean to business owners like ourselves? Basically, in simple language, it means that a buying decision is based 100% on emotions. If you don't feel an emotion, you will not buy. So picture yourself here. You walk into a store or you're shopping online, right? Whatever you're looking for. Say you're looking for a t-shirt, right? When you walk into the store, you don't like the t-shirt. Do you buy? Like, your emotion was triggered either because you didn't like the color. Exactly, Adriana. If you don't feel, you cannot make a decision. Exactly. So if you don't like the color or you don't like the cut or something, you don't buy because you are not able to decide that it's right for you, right? So you just pass it on. So that's exactly what it is. So if the person, doesn't feel emotion, they cannot make a decision, and that translates into they cannot buy. So if the initial emotion is neutral, you're neither here nor there, right? Like I mentioned. And post-sales, if the emotion is negative, you can rest assured there's going to be a refund request or bad reviews. All right. So we absolutely have to strive for a positive emotional experience, especially at the moment of first contact. And this is a pet peeve of mine. I am absolutely anal about the customer experience. Okay. So one of my areas, actually, it is one of my areas of specialization, and that's why I think you can understand now why I am so anal about it. And okay, so let me give you a quick example of what I used to do with my photography clients, and this process is still pretty close to what I do with my coaching and workshop clients. Of course, this was photography. These were, products that you could touch and feel, physical products, but if you understand the rationale behind it, I think you can translate it into anything. Okay, so let's go to the next slide where I am going to share with you my process. So what would happen is, as soon as a client would book with me, I'd send them an email with the next steps on how to pay their invoice. Okay, so after that, and in that same email, they would also receive a link to my calendar that would enable them to book their photo session. The invoice payment was easy peasy, and the calendar booking was also quick and easy. So they would then receive another email on how to prepare for the shoot. Tons of information on how they can prepare for the shoot. Okay. Then also they would receive the contracts to be signed within that same email. And then they would receive a few follow-up emails reminding them of the photo shoot. I am trying to take away any stress from the client. Okay. I am telling them over and over again, hey, this is your next step. Hey, this is how you need to prepare, so that they don't sit there and wonder, oh, what am I supposed to do next? Oh, how am I supposed to prepare for the shoot? Should I wear white or should I wear black? Should I paint my nails or should I not? Right? You want to remove these things from your clients' minds, okay? And of course, all of this was automated, and I actually replicated this entire system in my coaching business as well, and it works like a charm. Okay, so moving forward, they would receive reminders, like I said, for the photo shoot. Then they would come for the actual photo shoot. And I made sure they had an incredible experience from the moment they came in, because sometimes I would do the shoots at home in my home studio, or I'd be going outdoors. It doesn't matter where it was. I would offer them refreshments, and especially when I did newborn shoots, I wouldn't book any other shoots on that day because I knew they could take hours. Okay, my longest newborn session has been 5 hours. And you know what? I didn't want the parents to feel rushed, because I cannot direct a newborn to smile and do anything, that they do. So I had to reserve that time. And like I said, I never had the parents worry about anything, not even cleaning up if their baby pooped or peed or barfed all over my props. Okay. And that happened a lot because it's part of the trade, right? So, of course, it was a lot of extra work for me, but new parents are, as it is struggling with this new lifestyle, So the last thing I wanted them to do was be embarrassed or worried and have to clean up, right? They appreciated this experience. And most of these families came back to me year after year for their family photos. And I'm not exaggerating. The final session I did last year was for a 7-year-old boy who I was photographing since he was a newborn. And after that, I just called it quits. I wrapped up my photography business. But mind you, this mother was spending an average of $1,750 every year on these birthday sessions. Of course, she'd be buying albums and prints and gift items for the grandparents and all of that, right? So that's how she was spending so much money. But she was doing it every year. So, okay, so going back to onboarding, I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but I really want you to understand the details of what customer experience is all about. So once the photo shoot was done, I would immediately remind them that they would have to come in within that week to preview their images, okay, whether they were getting albums made or prints or whatever else, wall pieces, etc. So once that was done, they would receive a series of emails again asking them to approve the album designs and print designs and all of that. Again, understand this, I'm making it a complete no-brainer for them. Okay, they know each and every step because I am reminding them. I'm not just leaving them hanging in the air, okay? And then they would again, be able to pre-book their their pickup appointment, and I would do that because I knew when everything was going to arrive, and I would give them a choice to make it convenient for them to come and pick up their items, right? And so when they came to pick up their albums and stuff like that, they would receive them in beautifully packaged, bags and whatever, and they would be so thrilled about it. Actually, I should tell you this. There was one particular client who refused to open our package to check the contents because I insisted the clients open and check their contents, because later on I didn't want complaints that, hey, you know what, this album was damaged or the print didn't turn out right, etc. But this client would refuse to open our package. And later on, I found out that she was actually doing reveal parties with her family and friends. Imagine a reveal party of her family portraits. Okay, you only hear this for gender reveals and all of that. So what an interesting thing to do, right? I hadn't known about this until, I was photographing them for quite a while. And when I found out, what I did was I included a large box of Lindt chocolates so she could share them with her guests at the party. And obviously she was ecstatic, right? Again, this was an exception, but this was an incredible piece of information for me. And guess what? This set of clients actually became ambassadors for my business. And over 2 years, she sent me 6 referral clients. And I did so many shoots for her every single year. It's really mind-blowing. I pretty much became their family photographer. And each one of those 6 referrals also brought in massive offers, because you know what? When you have a good client, the ones they refer to your business are like them. They're as good as they are. So you want more of those clients. You want to create those clients so that you can create that referral system. So again, I'm sorry this was a little bit long, but I really wanted you to understand the feeling part of it. And so let's continue. So now let's talk about the last piece, which is the customer satisfaction. Obviously, this is through your product or service, okay? This is a no-brainer, and I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is your core craft. It doesn't matter what your craft is, whether you are an artist like Christy, whether you're a photographer like Adriana, whether you're a writer like Ria, you're a coach like Nancy, Crystal, Leah, anybody. It doesn't matter. That's your core craft. So regardless of whether you offer a product or a service, this should be of the highest quality, and that is a given, okay? Before you even got into business, this was possibly what you did best or were really passionate about, right? And that may have been why you even decided to offer this in your business. Most entrepreneurs will spend all their time focusing on their product and their service, but not on how to make their customers feel good. This is disastrous. So let me share with you a bonus secret. If you don't know this already, 80% of your business depends on your marketing, and only 20% depends on your actual product or service. Even if your product isn't up to par, but your customer experience is impeccable, your clients will overlook the subpar offerings. Okay, it's 100% true. If you're surprised to hear this, please put an S in the comments. I want to see how many of you are surprised by this stat, because I'd really love to help you get this imprinted on your brains like a brain tattoo, okay? So, if you're hearing me, please repeat after me. 80% of my business depends on my marketing and how I make my clients feel, and only 20% depends on the actual product or service. Again, let's repeat. 80% of my business depends on my marketing and how I make my clients feel, and only 20% depends on the actual product or service. I hope you got this. Yeah, I'm seeing some S's in the comments. But seriously, I'd really love to know if this was, this is something that was so surprising that, you were just focusing on your craft, okay? Because you will need to change this. And I hope that the clients I have in here, and there are a few, aren't surprised by it, because you would have already heard this from me. Adriana, I saw you said S. I cannot believe you said that, because we did this in our coaching last year. So if you, of course, I know I'm just joking. I don't mean to call you out, but honestly, you have to pay attention to your customer experience. Okay. Unfortunately, I didn't anticipate I'd be doing this session today. Otherwise, I'd have taken some photos from the more recent upgraded packaging I used to offer my photography clients. But let me share a few photos regardless, because I downloaded these from my first ever blog. Thanks, Kirsty, for putting that in. Yes. So, so I'm going to share these, photos with you. Oh, and another thing I wanted to mention was that I always include a little surprise gift for them in the packages, okay? It did cost me money, obviously, but what is an additional $25 when your clients are worth a few hundred or even a few $1,000s, right? So, my coaching business is different because there aren't any tangibles to deliver per se, but you know what? I'm gonna share something else as well going forward. So, if you look at these photos, these were the very, very first photos that, I had on my blog, on my very first blog, actually. So the ones on the top left, you see the ones wrapped in craft paper and with the little doilies. Those used to be the baby albums, right? So I would keep them neutral and delicate. Obviously, I would then put them into branded bags. Now, my bag was like not really branded at that point, but I tried to make it as kind of artisanal as possible. And the picture in the forefront with the yellow packaging, that's actually handmade gift paper, and those would be my signature clients, right? And each of those sheets of paper would cost me about $12. But you know what? The amount of money they would spend with me, I think it was worth it. And also, I would make them, the embellishments and all of that, I would make them seasonal or occasional, like depending on the occasion. They were using, they were kind of coming to me for the sessions. Yes, Ria, you are special. So, yep. Okay. So again, like I said, my coaching business is a little bit different because there aren't many tangibles that I offer in there, but I believe in a very high touch service, and the clients in my signature programs, they do receive a welcome gift. They receive handwritten notes, and you know what? It's a little bit different. And also for my one-on-one coaching clients, actually, they receive the recording of the coaching calls, and I coach with some of the best coaches in the world. I don't receive them for my own coaching. All right. They receive like regular inspiration and even the weekly tasks they're supposed to do. I try to make it as easy for them as possible so they can just come back to the email and know exactly what they have to do before the next call. All right. So it is important that you treat your customer really, really well. So let's talk about secret number 2. I'm running a little bit late, ladies. Oh, sorry, I forgot I had included this. So these are for my coaching clients. So again, because these were local, I was able to do it for them. The little boards that you see with the words on them, those are the brand value boards. And those were for the clients who took my signature branding program, right? So they came up with their brand values, and I just created this handmade board for them because it was like two birds with one stone, because art helps me de-stress, right? So art and crafting helps me de-stress. So I created these things, and one of them was local to Montreal, and two of them were in Ottawa, so it was easy for me to ship it to them. The one in the middle, the little box that you see, that's a success box. That was for my client who took a mindset program, and she absolutely transformed her life, even her family life actually. So that was my token of appreciation for her. So yes. All right. So moving forward, secret number 2 is achieving customer retention, right? So you want higher customer retention. And I'm going to go a little bit fast. Sorry, ladies, because I don't want to keep you too long. So this is where you start preparing your client to stay engaged with you. You do things for them that make them realize that they're better off continuing to do business with you rather than go to your competitors, right? Remember one thing. This is very important for you to remember. Human beings are lazy by nature, period. So if you don't give them reason to leave you, that's the first step. The next one would be to give them a reason to stay. Two very different things. Don't let them leave you, and then you give them a reason to stay. Okay, we'll cover a little bit more on this in the customer loyalty section. So, but I did want to kind of start talking about this already. So how do you achieve higher customer retention? You do it by making it easy for them to do business with you. Remember that both men and women have what I call emotional debt. What is emotional debt? So say, for instance, if you have a family, and this is especially true because, if you have a family, you have 15 different things you need to remember to do or even get done, right? And women more than men, and especially if you are a single parent, they have to keep all of these things in mind and juggle these different things, right? So I can't tell you how important this is to remember because, me being a single parent, it makes a world of difference if I have one less thing to remember or one less thing to think about, right? So so always remember that people have emotional debt, especially the women who are the ones trying to remember all the different milestones, the different occasions, etc. So you have to take that into account and make it easy for them to buy from you. If you make it complicated, they will go to your competitor, right? They don't have time. They don't have to sit there and go through all the crap, the tools and strategies and the hoops and everything that, that get in their way. So even if your prospect or customer doesn't tell you how busy they are, you can be sure they have a lot going on. And you have to truly understand your customer because that will allow you to create a much, much better experience for them. And if you do succeed in creating a better experience, you'll definitely win them over for life. And remember that stat I showed you, 85% of women will stay loyal to a brand if they really like that. So remember that women's radars are constantly scanning the marketplace for products and services because they are looking out for gifts for their loved ones, right? I'm sure you do it all the time. And we have so many high days and holidays in the year. You definitely want something, the right thing for the right person. So speaking of which, the holidays are coming up. It's a great time to start thinking about what your clients could use for themselves or as gift for their loved ones. So get in early on that so you can make holiday shopping easier by offering them something useful, right? You have to offer them something useful. There's no point in giving them stuff they don't need. So that's what you want to do. That's how you want to provide value. And value, by the way, it's not just about content, right? Value is about being of service when they need it most. Helping them make easier choices when they could easily go down a rabbit hole. If you are there at the right time with the right thing, they will buy from you. And of course, I've mentioned this before, your branding needs to be really strong for this. And yeah, so staying in touch with them is a big thing. So if you have existing clients, go back to your database and see how you can re-engage them. Maybe, another way to re-engage them is wishing them on their birthdays or their anniversaries, finding those data, like find that data and keep it. Following them on social media and making sure you're celebrating their accomplishments, and stand by them if they're going through tough times, right? It takes nothing. It takes a minute to just write out a message. My clients, mostly they become my friends. And the funny thing is, a few of them have followed me around in my several different lines of business. Starting with coming to me for cooking lessons. Actually, that was the mother who used to spend $1,700+ with me. She came to me first to learn how to, cook Indian food, and then she followed me into my photography business. Okay, so that really increases the lifetime value of the client. Remember that. And lifetime value, by the way, in case you're wondering, is how much your client spends with you during their lifetime. Okay, they may not stay with you forever. They may not buy from you forever. But if they have stayed with you for 5 years before they've moved to your competitor, or they have not bought that product at all, then the lifetime value is 5 years. Okay, so why not just focus on the ones who already bought from you, and because they already know you and like you and trust you, so just focus on them and make sure that you're able to engage and retain them. Okay, so actually, I forgot to do this. Okay, yeah. So sending them coupons and early bird offers, that is so important because you keep re-engaging. And I'm not going to dwell on this because I know that you have, you probably receive 100 coupons every single day. So I'm not going to dwell on this. You know exactly what I mean by that. And of course, you can okay. So another good thing is about the holistic and the transactional business model. A lot of business owners come to me and they have this transactional model where they just do business with somebody once. So what does that do? It makes you try, it has you chasing down another new client, right? Whereas in the holistic business model, you give them packages that span over a longer time. So one is that your cash flow is better because they're in a package and they can keep injecting that cash into your business. And also when they stay with you longer, the relationship solidifies, right? So you want to have a holistic model. You don't want a transactional model. And a lot of people will tell me that, oh, you know what? I can't have packages. I don't think so. I don't agree. There are ways you can tweak your offerings to make it more holistic than a transactional. And if you're interested again in maybe you want some strategy for your own business model, just hit me up after the summit. We can definitely take a look at that. Or also, if you have questions, you can just ask them in the Q&A session and I can answer some of that. So again, this is where you leverage your existing database. Go back to your database, see who's already bought from you and see what else you can offer them, like something of value. Okay. And mapping and engaging customer journey, again, so important. Like I said, I won't go back to this again. We've spoken enough of customer journey. Make sure the emotions are really good. You're making it easy for them. Don't make them jump through hoops, etc. Okay. Next one is secret number 3, creating customer loyalty. Okay. This is a big thing because, again, remember that stat. And I'm going really fast now. I'm going to probably go over time. I'm sorry. So, ask them, showing you value your clients is a little bit different from providing continuous value to your clients. So what I do with showing value is that I send them, I ask them for feedback on a regular basis. I figure out, what they're struggling with. I try to figure out through those surveys. I send them surveys so they can tell me what they're struggling with. And then even during my photography business, I would actually invite them out for lunch or for a coffee or something and do like a face-to-face feedback. All right. So that was one way I was showing that I valued them because I spent time and my money on them. All right. So they felt valued. The other thing is providing your clients continuous value is, say, for instance, if you're a product-based business, for instance, right? maybe that is something, maybe you're selling beauty products or something. What you can do is, once your client has purchased from you, you can send them some extra videos like tutorials and how to maybe apply makeup or how to use a certain skin cream. Or maybe if you're an artist, like in Kirsty's case, maybe you can show them how to hang up the artwork in their home, or where they can place that artwork so it, it looks its best. So you have to constantly provide value to your clients. Okay, and then the next thing is offering them a reason to come back. This is huge, and I'm going to go into what I used to do for my clients. So especially if you're selling products or selling services, it doesn't matter. It is very easy for you to give them a reason to come back. All right, and let's take a look at when my slide opens. All right, so what you see here is that I was offering these baskets, these gift baskets. So if you see the close-up of the gift basket, it had a lot of pampering items for the moms, okay, for the newborn moms. So what I would do is I would send these just before the holidays. I would hand deliver these baskets, and inside the basket you can see there's a photo frame with a little card in there, which was a gift card. So that gift card was actually a coupon for $50. So what I would tell the mom is that, obviously for the baby shower, what she received was mostly gifts for her baby, nothing for herself. So this was something for her. And when she received that $50 coupon, if she did not book with me already, if she hadn't booked her newborn session with me, she had only done her pregnancy, this is how I got the idea. She would immediately take that coupon and come back to me, right? Because she was getting that $50 off on her portraits. So I think you understand what I'm saying, right? It is important to give them a reason to come back to you. So when they had that, so this is what happened with that. So this was one of the shoots that came out of the basket, because I repeated this the following year, but I actually sold 5 of the baskets for just $25, okay? And then I also got this second session. So I had given away 3 baskets the first year, and I got 2 shoots out of those. So look at the numbers. So with the $25, I spent over 3 baskets was $75. But for this shoot, I made $650 because she came back, and we had a lot more photos of this little, adorable baby girl. And for this one, this is how much I made. It was $1,100 plus change. Okay. Why would I not keep spending that $75 if I could make $1,800? Why would I not do that, right? It's just a no-brainer. So you have to be able to come up with ways that you can keep getting your clients back. All right, so looks like I'm done with the thing. I just got so caught up with the thing. So what I would like to leave you with is this. I would like you to go back into your business, into your client database. Think of what you can do for your clients, how they can benefit from something that you are offering that maybe you haven't offered to them in the past, or even if you have offered them in the past, remember that not everybody is always prepared to buy at a certain time. People have stuff going on, right? So remember that even if you had offered them in the past, they hadn't bought, you can still go back and offer them yet again, and maybe this time they will buy. Or tweak your offering, make it more attractive, see that you're creating those emotions, and go back to them and see how you can re-engage them, right? So that's it for this segment. I wanted to remind you of the giveaways that we have going on. You know that I'm giving away a 30-minute customer journey. So even if you haven't started your business, you're just starting up, this is a fantastic time to get your customer journey kind of nailed down. And obviously for my segment, I'm going to give away 1 hour of CX strategy session. We are going to go through not just your customer journey map, but we're also going to go through, what you're doing, the marketing strategies and all of that to re-engage your clients. So this is another thing that I'm going to give away during this segment. So one of you ladies, I know a few of you are watching right now, so one of you ladies will definitely receive this. And I just wanted to remind you that please come back for the next segment, which will be with Jessica Haynes. She is going to talk about her website design mistakes, and it's going to be another killer session. I believe it's going to be in another couple of hours, so not too late for North America and definitely Australia, New Zealand. I hope you're going to come back for that session. And with that, I would like to wrap this up. And of course, yeah, sure, I just wanted to share this with you because I tell my clients that they should always share where people can contact them, and I have to walk my talk. So here you go. I'm sure you could have found me online, even if I didn't share these things with you. But here you go. You can, find me on my website, on Instagram, on Facebook, and even on YouTube. And I do hope some of you will connect with me after and reach out to me if you need help with anything. And so I would really like to thank you before I open up for Q&A. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and attend my session. So let me go back and turn my video on. I hope you can see me now. Thank you so much, ladies. I would love to take questions. Ria, do you have any questions for me right now, or are we good? Because I was also watching the chat. Thank you, Nancy, for being here. I'm really sorry for the horrible glitch in the beginning. But anyway, we stayed within the hour, which is good. But yeah, that really stressed me out. Oh, you're very welcome. Christy, yes, please go ahead with your questions. Thank you, Adriana. Absolutely, Kirsty. Testimonials are gold, okay? They are absolute gold. And there are lots of ways that you can ask for testimonials. Obviously, you have to make sure that they've had a really good experience with you. They're happy with your product. A good way to get testimonials is a Google, right? You can have them leave you a Google review. I have had a lot of clients actually find me through Google reviews in my photography business. So you have to set up your Google My Business, and then you can have them. What I do is, instead of asking my clients to go look for the Google page and do stuff like that, I would hand them the link. I would give it to them, and they would just leave the review right there. So that is one way you can do it. You can also do video testimonials. You can have them send you testimonials on Facebook. Maybe rate your Facebook page, especially because you are an artist, Kirsty. So you can have them rate you on your page. But there are so many different ways. You can make it easy for them and just have them answer 3 questions. So I would often ask my clients, and I do this especially in my coaching business, I ask them 3 questions, right? Why did you choose to come work with me? And it could be, I can't remember off the top of my head now. I'm totally sleep deprived. I'm sorry, but I can get those questions across to you, and you can, you can ask them those 3 questions, and whatever they answer, let them know that you're going to use them for testimonial. Ask them if you can use their photograph even. I like to usually go with the first name and the initial of the last name, but if they're okay with you using their first and last name, please go ahead and do that. So that gives it credibility. There's so many ways, but I'll send you the questions. Great question. Testimonials are gold. Thank you, Angela. I am happy that you learned a lot from this. Any other questions, or are we good to wrap up? I have averaged about 4 hours of sleep for the last, I think, couple weeks, but yesterday I broke the record. I'm working on 2 hours of sleep, that too not at a stretch. An hour here and an hour there between segments, so I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But I do hope I really made sense. If there are no other questions, I am going to wrap up. I'll just take one more second because I know there's a delay. All right, but I can always answer them in the thread. I will be in the group, so I'll answer them in the thread. All right, ladies, thank you so much again. Thank you so much, Ria, for moderating for me. And I look bright and alert. I'm trying. I was sweating bullets when my Facebook account got locked out. So, yeah. All right. Thanks a lot, ladies. I'll see you in the group. And remember to share your aha moments and enter in the giveaways. Bye for now.